Welcome aboard. I'm Andy Andrews, and you have joined us here on the Blue Plate Special. We're in Wisdom Harbor Studios in Orange Beach, Alabama, at the fabulous Wharf, home of the famous Marlin statues and the famous escalator statues, which some of you saw the other day. And we're glad to have you here. We're live on Tuesdays and Thursdays most of the time. And if you're new to us and you're on Facebook, you can click that notification button and turn the notifications on your phone. That way you'll be notified when we do anything live on Facebook, which I think they've changed their name. And so what if they changed their name to? Matt, what if they changed their name?
I believe it's Meta.
Meta, okay. And so that'll fool everybody. Everybody will go, I'm getting on Meta. It's Facebook? No, it's Meta. Okay. I'd like to welcome you, though. And you can certainly share to your page. Hello, Christy. And you shared. That's my sister, Christy, right there. And David Orr. Hey, buddy. How are you? And let's see, I'd like to welcome the people on YouTube and those of you on Twitter out there in the Twitterverse. And if you're on YouTube, click the subscribe button. That would help us. And we would also like to welcome those of you joining us from LinkedIn. So loosen your ties, you business people. And we're glad to have you here. This is a big show. We have a big announcement today. Are we ready? They can't hear you nod.
No, we're not
They
ready.
can't hear you shake your head. So are we ready?
No. Not yet. No.
Not yet. Okay. We're not ready yet. We've been working all night. I know little M has been. Matt, I evidently just went home and got a shower at some point. Nancy Hazler Brown says she is watching with bated breath from Joplin, Missouri. And I am here with breath that smells like bait in Orange Beach, Alabama. Carol Galloway, okay, we're glad you're here. You know, in our studio audience today, we have an icon. This is a celebrity in our area that everybody grew up with. And when I tell Austin and Adam who was here today, they're going to go nuts. Patsy. We have Patsy Rose from Orange Beach, and are you still at the library? Are you still? Okay, you are just floating above everybody now, I guess. She was the librarian. She was the head librarian. She was marrying the librarian, and she did all the children's stuff for several generations of kids. And Adam and Austin loved Miss Patsy. Miss Patsy. They just loved her. Well, I'm glad you're here today. Thank you for being here. So, Monica, hey, happy Thursday, Monica Early. Monica won the contest we did, Heather Olson, happy Thursday. You shared in Utah. Good. Thank you, Jack Whitcop from Austin, Minnesota. See, that's one of those towns that, if you say you're from Austin, people naturally assume Texas, right? So, but there's a lot of those. It's like, I'm from Jackson, Alabama. I'm from Lebanon, Tennessee. Hey, Diane from Tennessee. I'm from Paris, Texas again. There's a lot of those. Serena Stoll Garner, sharing as always. Thank you for doing that. And Nadine from North Alabama. Chris Comer, hey buddy. Yeah, Meta terrifies me too. Now, I wonder if I will be electrocuted off the air by saying that right now. Deanna Kirkpatrick, hello. Good afternoon. You shared, thank you. Mike Williams from Lake City, Florida. You guys are piling in. Benny Dalzell. Benny, have you retired, Benny? I haven't seen you in Publix lately. Benny is I think he has bid adieu to Publix. Benny was, that must have been hard to be the number one manager out of 2,700 Publixes and in the number one store. It's like retiring. It's like retiring when you're Ali or something. The greatest. You're the greatest. This week's podcast, have you seen it, with John Acuff? John was in town, and we had him in the studio, and we said, let's just talk about speaking. Let's talk about speaking. And so we did. He is one of the most in-demand speakers there is, and I've done a little bit of it myself, and so we got to talk about that. Jimmy Erie is here. Jimmy with two. Jimmy has number ones in either, he's a songwriter with number ones in either 3 or 4 different genres, and Song of the Year awards in 2 different genres. How about that? Susie Armstrong Mayo, you made it. All right. Joey Hancock. Hey, man. Joey is an author, and I still give away Joey's book. Susan Fisher from Roswell, Georgia. And who else? Tara McCoy. Okay, want to just kind of tell you what's going on. Not ready to show it yet. Okay, all right. Okay, we are currently rendering video. That's what Matt says it is. He always says
It's not fat. It's a video.
Okay, all right. Because rendering to me sounds like something you do on slaughter day out in the country. We're rendering the fat. I mean, don't they do that with hogs or something? But so when Matt says it's rendering, Tammy Nance. Tammy says, hardest working bunch she knows. You're part of that bunch. So, okay, let me just tell you what's going on, and then we'll show you, Irene Robinson, will show you kind of proof of what we've been doing. But you know that this is Wisdom Harbor Studios. And actively, we're announcing today the opening of wisdomharbor.com. This is the grand opening, and we hope it's grand. We have, it's like still under construction. This will always be under construction, okay? Because Wisdom Harbor is a location a bit like Atlantis, except it's not sunk. People have a hard time finding the physical place, but it continues to grow because the content barges are always unloading. And Wisdom Harbor has like a 12-year history and really has a 3-year history of being physically worked on, okay? But I can look back and I can see that 12 years ago, I started having some ideas and some breakthroughs with some things I was trying to understand that I look back now and realize that they led to this. And so for 9 years, there were several different pieces. One of those things was when I began to understand how change really happened, not how society thinks it happens, but with the two things, what's in it for me and proof beyond reasonable doubt. I began to understand that. I began to understand the difference in what is true and the truth. I began to understand the bottom of the pool. And so as these things began to coalesce in my mind, I was narrowing in a funnel toward a destination that I didn't really know I was headed toward. Heather from Ontario, we're glad to have you here. Judson Perkins, you're in Key West. Good for you, Judson. Catch a fish today. Sandra Mendonca from Searcy, Arkansas. You like the shirt? Now, this is not the same shirt that I wore on Tuesday. I wore Where's Rudolph on Tuesday. But I'm glad your dad likes Hawaiian shirts. Your dad's from Hawaii, right? But this is, I'm wearing my Christmas shirts for December. This, I forget what this one is called, but it has a Santa toucan. And so anyway, 3 years ago, the idea came to me in a form that began to fit together and began to be a puzzle that started the pieces started assembling. And there's several things that I've always loved. And there's Edgar Struble. Oh my gosh. I'm all of a sudden nervous. Edgar was the musical director for Kenny Rogers and now conducts the music at award shows. And you've seen Edgar on TV, even if you didn't know and you've heard his music. So there's several things that when I look at my life, I realize that there have been stages of it that have fed the others. I did the comedy thing for a number of years, and that seemed to help. I used that. It was a preparation for business. Bob Woodall, Kevin Perkins are here. And then the business seemed to be a preparation for the speaking with the comedy and the business and the speaking, and then the writing, and then the coaching, working with clients, working with corporations and coaches and teams. And as I've gone through these stages in my life, I've realized that there are some things that I really, really love to do, and there are some things that I feel led to do. I feel led to write. Writing's not easy for me, and it requires a lot of hard thinking. And I'm like everybody else. I would rather just relax and kind of think about nothing, or I have to make myself think deeply. And so I feel led to write. I feel led to. I've always felt led to speak. But of course, you gotta think, you gotta read, because there was a while I wanted to speak, but I didn't have anything to say, and that'll kill a speaking career. But one of the things that I've always loved, I've loved the look in somebody's eyes when they learn something that they didn't know, and they've just realized that has changed things for me. That I was living this way, and now I'm about to live a new life. And I love it when somebody has that happen, whether I'm the one who is tipping that or somebody else is. And so through my life, I've met some people who are great at helping people to that point, helping people to do that. And one of the greatest things I love, and probably one of my biggest aggravations, I love introducing people I love to people I love. And there are some people who, by virtue of their gifts, their talents, their skill, their hard work, their wisdom, they deserve to have an audience. They deserve to be heard and watched and listened to. And so I've always, Polly has said, you should have been a promoter instead of a performer. She says I should have been a promoter because I do get on people's bandwagons, and I remember one time I was going to introduce Mark Lowry, and I was so happy to be introducing Mark. I love Mark, and I think Mark is just he's one of the funniest people I've ever known, and he also is the guy who wrote Mary, Did You Know? And Polly said, now just be careful. You know how you just like overdo things. You just oversell it, and he can't possibly live up to your introduction. And so knowing Mark, I went out and with the audience, I said, okay, Polly said that I don't need to overdo this introduction because Mark can't possibly live up to, what I say. And so let me just say this about Mark. He's not very good. Of course, everybody laughed. But there are people that I know that are great in certain areas, and they can teach, and they can have people feel what they feel. And so Wisdom Harbor is kind of a culmination of a lot of things that I have wanted to do. And we have tested this. Some of you have been involved in the testing. And Adam Duran, you've helped me write my first book. Thank you, from California. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate that. I'm glad. Congratulations. So some of you have been part of the testing. And so one of my biggest dreams was to produce this and do it in a way that anybody could afford it. We met with several consultants. Let me just tell you what Wisdom Harbor is first. And what we're waiting on here is a clip to show you guys just some of what Wisdom Harbor is about. But as all harbors are, a harbor is a safe haven for people in times of trouble or in times of vacations. Harbors are safe places. And so Wisdom Harbor, which is spelled Wisdom, H-A-R-B-O-U-R, Wisdom Harbor is no different. It's a safe haven, and harbors have docks, and Wisdom Harbor has docks. And those docks are populated with content, and there are what we call captains that are contributors to Wisdom Harbor, that are contributing their wisdom, their talents, their gifts, their unique way of explaining things. And it has developed into a team that has specific purpose for families. That specific purpose for families is there's an audiobooks doc. That's one of the things that started coalescing about 5 years ago that kind of added into some of the other, and it really might have made me think about the original big idea, because Adam came home from school, like in the 10th grade, and said, I've got to do a scarlet letter. And, Polly and I looked at each other, and because we, Adam is dyslexic, and so we knew that was going to be hard for him. And so I said, well, buddy, let's get the audio, and I'll listen to it with you, because it seems like I had to do a scarlet letter in high school, and I don't even remember anything about it. And so that's not like me, but I don't remember anything, so I'll listen to the audio with you. So we got the audio. About 3 minutes into the audio, Adam and I looked at each other and were like, holy moly, I mean, we can't understand this. Because it was in that old English, that old language. And so I thought, I must have just done Cliff Notes to get out of the class in high school with this, and that's why I don't remember anything about it. But I kept thinking about that for weeks, and thinking about, why would schools have kids read stuff that they can't understand? And because it isn't just that. I remember reading A Tale of Two Cities and a lot of stuff like that, and Shakespeare. And I thought, a lot of that stuff, Patsy, like Robinson Crusoe. Robinson Crusoe, I can get the license to do that, right? And so, and I could for Scarlet Letter and for Call of the Wild. And so I thought, why couldn't I freshen that language? Because when I got the Robinson Crusoe book to look at it, it's like every sentence is 2 paragraphs long. And it's Robinson Crusoe was written in 1719. So it's 100 years harder to read than a Scarlet Letter. And so I finally thought, some of this stuff needs to be translated. Even though it's already in English, it needs to be translated. Some of this stuff, not to change the story, but just to shorten the sentences and put in words that people understand instead of the words that are out of date. And so that was the beginning of one of the docs that's in Wisdom Harbor, the audiobook doc, is to have audios that families can read to, listen to together in the car. And Robinson Crusoe is one of the books on the dock. We've already done it, and Call of the Wild, and some Mark Twain stuff, and it's pretty cool. And so it has bearing for parents, because there's. Hey, and Emily is telling me that if everybody can share before we play what we're going to show you, that would be great. But the parenting stuff is on there. It's not overt. There's a question and answer doc, and there are segments like parenting, leadership, where I work. I can't remember all the different definitions, but if you click on parenting, it divides up, and you see questions devoted to parenting children, adolescents, teenagers, and adult children. And so there's questions and answers that are on that doc, and it has a great educational for students and for teachers, a great educational value. For teachers, there are curriculums on Wisdom Harbor that, I mean, as a member, you get access to all these curriculums, and there are some courses, and then what are the other, for business people, we've tested this with businesses, and this has great bearing for businesses because it shapes a culture, and the you know, if your business has a few salespeople, you know, then you can have them all be salespeople if they're all learning and culturally literate. So, are we ready to show? We're just going to show you. This is called the. This is available. It's the Inside Scoop. It's the Inside Scoop video. And so this is 17 minutes long, and we're just going to see inside Wisdom Harbor. And before you watch this, let me just tell you this, that it's opening today, and the price is $2.99 per month for an individual, or $27.99 for the year. And for families, it's $5.99 for a family up to 8 devices, and $47.99 for the year. So we feel like that's a price point that we can stay alive, and that people can go, well, heck, I got my $2.99's worth right there. And it's also a price point that somebody could buy this for a school. And so anyway, here we go. This is the Inside Scoop for you to watch. Hi, I'm Andy Andrews. Some folks around here call me the Harbor Master. I know you've probably already taken the Wisdom Harbor tour. Would you like to see some of what's actually happening on the docks right now? Okay, well, I'll be quiet so you can see and hear, but stay close beside me so you don't get lost. You won't nearly see everything or even all the captains, but I'll get in and out of each place quickly so you can experience a little something at each dock.
Hi there, welcome to the How Do I Dock. My name is Jimmy Geary, and I am going to be teaching you guitar. Today, so let's go ahead and get our guitars in tune. Start here with the high E, and then the third string up is the G.
I'm gonna open up Instagram and let's get started. I have Instagram open. You make your very first Instagram story. You are going to be on your home screen. That's where I am right now. And you're gonna swipe to the left. Right now the camera is facing me. So if you want the camera to be facing away from you, just click the camera icon at the bottom right of your screen with the little arrows on it. And then that will make it to where you can actually switch it like that. You can move it around using that feature, but for right now, for explanation purposes, I'm gonna leave it facing me. You have two options when it comes to making Instagram stories. You can simply just take a picture, or you can do video as well. If you want to take a picture, there's that little circle right there, that white one. You can actually just tap it, so I'll take a picture.
Chapter 3, The Dominant Primordial Beast. The dominant primordial beast was strong in buck, and under the fierce conditions of trail life it grew and grew. Yet it was a secret growth. His newborn cunning gave him poise and control. He was too busy adjusting himself to the new life to feel at ease, and not only did he not pick fights, he avoided them whenever possible. Bet you didn't know that Albert Einstein's brain was kept in a guy's basement for 40 years. It's true. Einstein died in April of 1955, and Thomas Harvey, the Princeton pathologist on call that evening, performed the autopsy and actually stole Einstein's brain. He kept it in a jar in his basement for 40 years. Eventually, long after he had lost his medical license and moved to Lawrence, Kansas, Harvey was interviewed by a reporter who asked to see Einstein's brain. Dying for a Valentine's date. I was in love. Her name was Sharon Hulbert, and she was the prettiest girl I had seen in 9 years. Her beautiful face, framed by short, dark hair, was covered with freckles, and the flat sandals she wore slapped the ground like firecrackers when she ran. And when she ran, Sharon was faster than any boy in our 3rd grade class. The first time I saw her was on the playground. At the time, she was beating Lee Peyton within an inch of his life. She seemed almost elegant, sitting there on his back, punching. A Thanksgiving state of mind. Everyone around the dinner table smiled as Pat Ward put the last dish in front of them. I know it's not much. The whole family laughed out loud. That statement had been made by Pat.
'Twas the night before Christmas, and all through the house, not a creature was stirring, not even a mouse. The stockings were hung by the chimney with care in hopes that St. Nicholas soon would be there.
The children were nestled all snug in their beds, with visions of sugar plums danced in their heads, and Mama in her kerchief and I in my cap had just settled down for a long winter's nap.
When out on the lawn there rose such a clatter.
Hey everybody, this is Wes. Today I will be making one of my all-time favorite desserts, pumpkin bread. I'll whisk this together. And next are the wet ingredients right here. I have 4 eggs. I have 3 cups of sugar. Yes, it's delicious. I did not say it was healthy. The cake is out of the oven. It baked around an hour, hour and 5 minutes. It smells so good in this kitchen.
You know, I use Facebook as a place to display photography. But I notice others who do that, who display some other things, and I make judgments about those individuals.
Right.
And quite often unfriend them, just to say, you know, I don't need that on my deal.
Right.
Yeah, everything's so transparent with it now. And like you're saying with the unfriending, you can see exactly which of your friends follows this person. So I could see how someone would be like, oh, you follow them or something. And it gets traced back to you in weird ways.
You're leaving impressions every time you act, every time you speak, every time you click a keyboard.
Right.
You're leaving an impression, a track that says something about you that is subject to interpretation by someone that you don't know and will never.
And if it's online, it's there forever now. It's not like you're hiding anything anymore.
And in the interview process, now it's not just people. You've got Andy as an employer and owner of a company. Your organization is subject to those inferences.
Right.
I believe in the right of the people to rule.
We shall never surrender.
It is the 4th of March, and America is in the throes of the Great Depression. Franklin Roosevelt has just been elected the nation's 32nd president in a landslide victory over the incumbent, Herbert Hoover.
I am certain my fellow Americans expect that upon my induction into the presidency, I will address them with a candor and decision which the present situation of our people impel. This is preeminently the time to speak the truth and the whole truth, frankly and boldly. Nor need we shrink from honestly facing conditions in our country today. This great nation will endure as it has endured, will revive, and will prosper. So, first of all, let me assert my firm belief that the only thing we have to fear is fear itself.
In other words, Roosevelt knows the American people are weary. He's just been sworn into office during one of the darkest times in our nation's history. The jokes he told and the stories he used during the campaign won't cut it now. The new president is also aware that he never spoke very much about what he would actually do if he were elected. But the people chose him. Now, he knows it's time to do something.
On a cold January day, our family made their way to Cedar Creek Cemetery in Hartselle, Alabama, to bury my grandmother. The vehicle slowed to a stop, and some men even got out of their cars and placed their hats over their hearts. Did they know my grandmother? Did they know our family? Maybe, maybe not. But the point was, they knew our sorrow. They knew someone in their community was gone, and a family was forever changed.
Come on, we'd all exercise if the weight we gained was in a more uncomfortable place on our bodies. Where do we gain weight? Our stomachs and our bodies. It's not in our way, is it? A couple pounds on your forehead, that would get you to a gym, wouldn't it? I don't understand this country's obsession with weight. To me, weight is nothing but a number. That's it. And everybody in this room has a number that makes them feel good about themselves. The key is to just stand on a scale and look at your number. Well, I bought a digital scale. Those numbers gradually build up to your correct weight. You can jump off anytime. See your number? Get off the scale, man. Why torture yourself? Who needs that kind of punishment? 155, that's all I'm weighing this week. Well, honey, I may not look it, but I lost 45 pounds last night.
much to me when these young kids come up to me and say, man, I used to love to listen to blah, 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 blah that you played on. And they know more about my career than I know. But it's so cool when they come up to me and you realize that, you know, not only did you make a little money by playing that day, and you might have played on an iconic intro, but it's even more than that. Some kid you may have inspired, somebody out there you didn't even know, you may be inspired to work harder and be better at what they're trying to do and maybe chase a dream, just like I'm still chasing mine. And so, Wisdom Harbor, it's a great place to be. We're going to try and explore truths that can make all of our lives better.
We're all afforded the same 24 hours in a day. As the clock would have it, what you do with that 24 hours separates us and separates our success. I thought about that.
Hey, I gotta ask, what in the world were you thinking? Like, listen, I'm not trying to rub your face in the mistake, and I know you're getting all kinds of grief from everybody about it anyways, but honestly, what were you thinking? Because what you did seems completely out of character for you.
Did you enjoy that? Good. I'm sorry we rushed through, but next time you enter Wisdom Harbor and tie up, you'll have all the time to explore you could ever want. There are already new docks being constructed, and barges filled with new original content are always arriving to be stacked within your reach. And of course, because of all the activity, Wisdom Harbor is open 24 hours a day. So join us. You belong at Wisdom Harbor. Smart people dock here. All right. Thank you for sitting through that. I think you got to see some of our captains on the dock. And when you join, you'll see there is a captain's dock, and you can explore the bios of every one of those people and go to their sites and see more about them. And what else did I see that I was wanting to tell you? Oh, let me just tell you this. When you go to the site right now, you'll see there is at the top, there is a button you can click called Piece of Wisdom. So you can either join now, or if you just want to test drive it, click that Piece of Wisdom and you'll get 7 free things coming to your inbox, and you get a chance to test drive it. For being a member, one of the things that happens too is each week you will get what's called a Piece of Wisdom. There are videos, and you can either read the thing, or you can listen to it, or you can watch the video, and they're all less than 2 minutes, and they come in on Wednesday morning and Saturday morning to the members of Wisdom Harbor. And they're called your Wednesday Piece of Wisdom and your Weekend Piece of Wisdom. And so Piece of Wisdom is obviously spelled P-E-A-C-E. And these are just little inspirational bits that give perspective and will start your day right. So, what else did I say? The In Other Words doc is something that a lot of schools will use and businesses will use, because there's so many there's so many phrases that we kind of know. Like, if I said to be or not to be, almost everybody knows that's Shakespeare. But fewer people would get Hamlet, and even fewer people could tell you what the heck he was talking about. So what we do is we take some of these recognizable phrases and we do the 2 minutes right around there. We end up with about a 6 or 7 minute video, but we do the 2 minutes of the original, and then we stop it and we go, in other words, what Hamlet is saying is, or, in other words, what the president was saying. And so we explain it so somebody has some context. And where this helps teachers and students is obviously to be able to be able to understand some things and in a more maybe interesting way, a funny way. Oh, I also need to tell you, there's an app. Okay, we got the app on your phone, and so when you join, you can download the app and put it on the first page of your phone and do everything Wisdom Harbor from the app. And that's a free part of your membership. And so the In Other Words, and with businesses, the In Other Words allows a cultural literacy to build among employees, to have people that can talk about something other than the scores of the ball game and what was on TV last night. And so, have people talk about history and talk about science. And because the Bet You Didn't Know doc is heavily geared toward history and science. And I know that on one of the content barges that's coming up, it's not on there yet, but there's a Bet You Didn't Know that World War II really ended in 1974, and it explains why. Then the Salty Mug doc, I think I want to explain to you that those are little bitty one-on-one things that either handle a problem or they encourage or they tell a story. Just one-on-one. And they all start with the mug right there in the camera, and then the person picks it up and talks to you. And the thinking behind that is that there are several million people who, when their families go to sleep at night, they don't go to sleep. And they walk around the house and they've done something, or something's been done to them, and they're not going to talk to anybody. They're not going to talk to a counselor. They're not going to talk to their spouse. They're not going to talk to their preacher. And so life is tough without somebody to talk to. And the Salty Mug is going to grow with all the captains will be involved in that. And the one you saw where Dan was saying, I can't believe you did that. I mean, there he's talking for 3 minutes to somebody who has done something and they kind of can't forgive themselves for it. And he's explaining that what you did was out of character for you, that what you did is not who you are. And that's going to be a very effective doc. We've the How Do I doc. I tell you, I am so excited about Jimmy Yeary teaching guitar. There are the first 2 lessons are already on Wisdom Harbor, and the first, I mean, he goes from the beginning and teaches the pieces of the guitar, and this is a very interesting, an award-winning songwriter and singer, and then the second one, he starts teaching chords, and there's the graphic that shows you where your finger goes, but I've seen the 3rd episode, even though the 3rd episode's not on there yet. By the 3rd episode, he's teaching you how to play a song. And so we've already had a couple of people see these 4, and Santa's bringing them guitars for Christmas just because of this one doc. And we've got people from Gen Z to baby boomers that are teaching. And I think you saw Little M there teaching about Instagram, and Austin in a conversation about employment. That was 2 baby boomers talking with 2 Gen Z people about interviewing for a job, and then we got Bob Woodall and Wes Hampton that are our chefs on what they're already in a curiosity doc, but there is a galley doc coming, and there's just a lot of stuff. Shelly Hess says the app very useful, and thanks, you're already moored. Good. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. Well, is there anything else that I need to? The video you saw, the inside scoop, that we'll work on that just a hair more, and then that will also be posted on the landing page, where you can take a 5-minute tour. It's a virtual tour of the site, and then you can take that 17-minute inside scoop to see some of the pieces on there. Did you see Bill and Gloria Gaither? Did you see that? Reading "'Twas the Night Before Christmas." I'm excited about the people who are joining us. You might have seen Gordon Moat. Gordon will be doing a continuing series called Influence, talking about the influence. Leslie Ann Tarabella is one of the coolest writers and communicators that we know, and she is a captain on Wisdom Harbor, and so you saw her with this. She was doing a piece about why the cars pull off the side of the road when a funeral happens. And who else? Sugarcane Jane. They are awesome. They're part of this. I know I'm forgetting a lot of people, but if I us, Jeff Allen, the comedian, but Rick Burgess from Rick and Bubba will be a captain on the Captain's Dock, and there are several more that are coming aboard, and we're excited about it, and ask you to spread the word, if you will. All right, thank you. Bye bye.